Hello, fellow aspirants. This is me, Dr. Jagdish Jagtar, and in today's podcast, we'll be dealing about ethics definitions. Now, many a time, what happens is we tend to overlook these definitions, just read them and not mug them up, and it really gives bad results in the ethics paper because there are some definitions that you have to know verbatim, and some definitions you can make up. So, we'll be dealing with a few important definitions that are mentioned in the syllabus. This is some information about me. Now, ethics. Mackenzie, name is not important, defines ethics as the study of what is right or wrong in human conduct, or the science of the ideal involved in human life. To give an example, let us discuss telling the truth or maybe lying. So, that is whether lying is right or wrong in human conduct. If you have to study that question, then that will be dealt in ethics, because sometimes you might have to say a lie to save a person's life, then that lie becomes good, or is that good or bad? So all these questions come under ethics. Value is a concept of the desirable with a motivating force. There can be many types of values like love, friendship, brotherhood. Attitude. It is a psychological tendency to regard an object with some degree of favor or disfavor. Now, this object could be anything. It could be a person, it could be inanimate, it could be animate, it could be emotion, it could be anything. It could be Trump, it could be Game of Thrones, it could be anything. So, the tendency to regard that object with some degree of favor or disfavor, because usually we'll have some opinion about object. So that, now there is a slight difference between opinion and attitude, because opinion is a primary stage and later on it crystallizes to become attitude. So this is that definition of attitude. You must mug it up. There are a few foundational values of civil services which various committees and government bodies have given across the world. In India, Britain, USA, they have given many foundation values, and our syllabus mentions a few. We have to know the definitions. First is integrity. It is having high morality, that even when tempted to do wrong, you will choose right. Now, in this case, integrity is like, in this scenario, the fellow in question or the person in question is independent, like no one is watching him, even then that person is choosing to do the right thing. So that is integrity. Because if someone is watching you, or you are like forced by law to do a certain thing, then in that place integrity doesn't come into play to that extent. Impartiality. It is an inclination to view both or all opinions equally. It is a very important value for a civil servant. Non-partisanship is lack of affiliation to a political party, ideology or cause. This would, like for aspirants, this would mean not indulging in social media debates about various political parties. Objectivity is judgment or philosophical position concerned with reality and uninfluenced by perception or feelings. This is quite straightforward, that everything like our opinions or our judgment should be based upon facts. You can take the example of any court of law. It is very objective because usually its decisions are based upon reality and not influenced by perceptions or feelings. And finally, dedication to public service. We don't have a definition for this, but you can always Google the definition for dedication. Now all these definitions are very important, and I would recommend that you learn them by heart. Empathy. The ability to understand or identify another's situation or feeling. Empathy is different from sympathy, because in sympathy you feel pity for that person. Now if you see a beggar on the road, and you feel bad about it, then that's sympathy. But if you actually, suppose one day you imagine yourself to be in the beggar's shoes, then that is empathy. So it is the ability to understand and identify another situation or feeling. Tolerance, the willingness to tolerate opinions or behavior that one dislikes or disagrees with. This is tolerance. Now, you might not agree with the person who has different political opinions, different social opinions, but then you have to tolerate that person. So, that is tolerance. Compassion is a feeling of deep sympathy for the suffering of others. Now, you can understand the relation between compassion and empathy. They are approximately same but different if you look at them in detail. Emotional intelligence. It is related to one's own ability to manage emotions oneself and managing emotions in relation with others. Now, it has two parts. First is you have to be aware of your own emotions, and then awareness about others' emotions. So these are two critical components of emotional intelligence. So if you are aware of both these things, and then you can manage them satisfactorily, that is emotional intelligence. So now we are done with the definitions. Most of the times what will happen is you might mug these definitions up in a very casual manner and you might not remember them exactly. So in such situations we are forced many times to create definitions, and we have to do some jugaad to do that. So in this kind of situation, what we can do is, there are a few terms which you should try to use in a definition, like comprehensive, or as a rule of thumb, if you have to make up a definition on the spot, try to use some technical scientific terms like inherent, comprehensive, or some relevant term, so that the definition looks compact and does not look amateurish, because every term has around 100 definitions. So if we can create a definition which looks as if it has some legitimacy, you can definitely score good marks. Thanks a lot. If you have any queries, do write them in the comments. I'll reply as soon as possible. Thank you. Have an awesome day.